Along the gentle, winding banks of the River Thames, not far from the heart of London, rises a vast red brick fortress, majestic, imposing, and heavy with some of the darkest secrets in English history. Welcome to Hampton Court Palace. This is not merely brick and mortar. This is a stage, the setting of one of the most powerful, dramatic, and blood-stained dramas of the Tudor age. The story does not begin with a king. It begins with a cardinal. In the early 16th century, Thomas Wolsey, the most powerful man in the English church, built Hampton Court as a dazzling display of his wealth and influence. He intended it as a symbol of success, ambition, and favor. But Wolsey made one fatal mistake. He built a palace more magnificent than the king's. And when Henry VIII, a ruler infamous for his ambition, vanity, and cruelty, set eyes upon Hampton Court, he desired it. And what the king desired, the king would take. Wolsey fell from grace. Hampton Court became royal property. Now, step with me through the great gatehouse. Stone beasts stand guard along the moat, the king's beasts. Lions, dragons, bulls, and heraldic creatures clutch shields bearing royal symbols, silently proclaiming legitimacy and power. The deep red brick glows warmly in the sunlight, yet there is something unsettling beneath the beauty. This warmth conceals danger. It was here that Henry VIII brought all 6 of his wives. 6 women. 6 fates. Divorced. Beheaded. Died. Divorced. Beheaded. Survived. Carved throughout the palace walls is Henry's royal motto, Dieu et mon droit, God and my right. He believed himself chosen by God. His will was law, his conscience, unquestioned. Now we enter the Great Hall. This is the largest and most important room in the palace. Look upward. Above us stretches one of the most magnificent hammerbeam oak ceilings in all of England. More than 5 centuries ago, beneath this roof, Henry hosted feasts that lasted for days. Wine flowed endlessly. Exotic dishes were served on golden plates. Music echoed, laughter rang, and excess knew no limit. But look closer at the tapestries lining the walls. Woven with gold and silver thread, they were worth more than the palace itself at the time. Though they depict biblical stories, their purpose was political, to remind every courtier present of the king's absolute authority. Power, here, was not whispered. It was displayed. Behind these feasts lay a vast, unseen machine. The Tudor kitchens. Imagine the heat, the noise, the scent of fire, meat, and spice in the 16th century. Hundreds of cooks and servants labored day and night. Massive fireplaces roasted entire oxen. Hampton Court was a city in itself, and its appetite could never be allowed to go unsatisfied. Even today, the walls seem to remember. The faint smell of smoke lingers. The air feels thick with motion, as if the past is still at work. But Hampton Court is not only a place of celebration. It is also a place of tragedy. Walk softly now, for we enter the haunted gallery. According to legend, in 1541, Henry's 5th wife, young Catherine Howard, was imprisoned here, accused of adultery. Learning that the king was attending mass in the nearby chapel, she broke free from her guards and ran screaming down this very corridor, begging for mercy. She never reached the door. Guards seized her before she could touch it. Henry continued praying, unmoved by her cries. Days later, Catherine Howard was executed. Visitors today often report sudden chills, feelings of dread, or distant screams echoing through the gallery at night. Whether ghost or memory, despair seems permanently embedded in these stone walls. Another wife met her fate here as well. Jane Seymour, the only wife Henry truly loved, for she bore him a son, died at Hampton Court shortly after childbirth. It is said that Henry's heart was buried with her beneath the chapel. This palace was the place of his greatest joy and his deepest sorrow. Time moved on. The Tudor dynasty faded into history. In the late 17th century, William III and Mary II came to power. They dreamed of transforming Hampton Court into a Versailles of England, inspired by the grandeur of Palace of Versailles. But money ran out before the destruction was complete. And so, Hampton Court became something extraordinary. A palace divided. One half remains Tudor, dark red brick. heavy with ambition and blood. The other half emerges in elegant Baroque white stone, symmetrical, refined, and French in spirit. This contrast is Hampton Court's greatest beauty. The eastern facade opens onto the great fountain garden. Trimmed yew trees rise in perfect cones. Fountains sparkle beneath the sun. Aristocrats once strolled here, whispering political schemes and forbidden romances. Do not miss the maze, the oldest surviving hedge maze in the world. To wander within it is to feel lost among the intrigues of the royal court, unsure which turn leads to safety and which to ruin. And finally, the astronomical clock at the clock court gate. It does more than tell time. It tracks days, months, the sun, the moon, and the stars. It reminds all who pass beneath it that no matter how powerful a king may be, he remains small before the universe, and time waits for no one. Today, Hampton Court welcomes millions of visitors each year. Children run across lawns where Henry once hunted. Lovers stroll through rose gardens. Laughter now replaces screams. Yet when dusk falls, when the final visitors leave, the palace grows quiet once more. The ghosts, whether real or imagined, return to their watch. They remind us of the cost of power, of the fragility of human life. Henry VIII sought immortality through sons and monuments. His bloodline ended, but Hampton Court still stands, telling his story long after his voice fell silent. Thank you for walking with me today through the halls of history and legend at Hampton Court Palace. I hope the tale of 6 wives and 1 tyrant has left you thoughtful, moved, and curious. If you enjoy immersive historical films rich in emotion and truth, please consider subscribing, so we may continue uncovering royal secrets together. Farewell, Hampton Court. Farewell, ghosts of the Tudor age. And until next time, we will meet again in the open pages of history.